What's up, everyone? Julio back here for the Level Up Fit podcast. All right, can't get enough of that sound effect. Anyway, just wanted to rant for a little bit here about people being aware of shit and like work ethic. I had a long day at work today, for example, and you know it happens from time to time to all of us. It's not just me. It doesn't make this day or myself any special, but I just wanted to share my thoughts and how I feel about getting through it. Because when I'm at work, I'm constantly on the go. I don't stop. I'm constantly just go. And a friend of mine had asked me how I do it. Like, how do I manage all this shit at work? With everything I do, I work out, 5 days a week, do cardio every single day on top of work, on top of, managing my family life. Recently got another job to be able to financially support, and not just financially support, but like all the other extra too that comes with having a family. To that, I was telling her that it's just when it comes to how hard I work, I'm able to do it. But number one, I don't think about it. When I'm there, I know when I'm at work, when I'm doing my job, when I'm, in a place, whether it be the gym, at work, like just, from the moment I get up till it's bedtime, I'm constantly on the go, and I always want to go at 100% every single time. And I, like I said, number one, I don't think about it. And number two, I just stay, in a way, I stay motivated. I stay inspired to just keep going and keep getting better. Like, the second I slow down and stop, one of my biggest fears is that either I'm going to stop, like, completely because I'm fucking exhausted. And yeah, granted, we all need a break. I'm not saying, like, I don't need a break. We all get burnt out from time to time, need a couple of days off, this and that. But, like, my biggest fear is that somebody is going to take that position, take that higher level that I'm at, whether it be at work or whatever I'm doing. Like, there's, everyone that works hard builds their way up. Everyone that busts ass in a smart way. It's not just about busting ass, but it's not just about working your tail off, but there's a couple other factors with it. But to my point, there are people out there that have that same opportunity, that if you slow down or stop, they're going to snatch that shit away from you. That opportunity sometimes is taken for granted. Like, for example, today we at my job, at my place of employment, the company I work for, we had a new hire. We had a new employee that I had been training for about a month now, right? And they had to take a final assessment, which granted was not created perfectly. Some of the questions, it was a written assessment, multiple choice style test, just to see where their knowledge was. And I've been training them for about 4 weeks with a couple other of my colleagues. And, they took the assessment, just to make it fair. They did well. They really did well, in my point of view. But there is on the test, it's built in that if you don't get 80%, you fail, and it tells you that at the end of the test. So one of the two got a 78%, and it wasn't much, because like the person could justify the questioning and their logic and how what they answered could have also been right, which I agreed with that. I told them, hey, if we've pulled this test and pull one of the test questions and you tell me why you answered this way, like, that's one question right there that flips it to an 80, and then you're good. And my manager all agreed with me, and we pulled them into a room and told them that they both passed, everything was all good. And I mean, I understand the drive and the motivation, but it was constantly, but no, I failed, but no, it was, but something. There's that statement of but whatever, even though the situation was all right. And he did state that it's more of a mental thing. It has to do with my morale. You know what? Like, you can either sit there and dwell and bitch and complain and make excuses and point the finger, or you can turn that around and say, hey, I passed. Everything's all good. Now I'm going to bust ass even harder and work even harder to show that wasn't a true representation of what I know and what I'm about. Instead of bitching and complaining and, putting it on someone else that you got that. Like, it's, when I first started at this company, I was in the same playing field. Like, everything we were, I guess the guinea pigs, my colleagues and I that started that training class were really the guinea pigs for training. It was the first time they were doing it in that style, and the material that we were being taught was on point. It was more the same struggles that he went through with the test questions, and like some of the things that he was being assessed on was not worded properly and wasn't really direct to the point, very vague questioning. So it didn't really, it gave them options to answer whichever way and justify it. But you know what? I got through it, did well, and now I'm to the point that like I got to the part where I'm actually doing my damn job, and I knew for a fact that what I'm good at is working my ass off and making sure it doesn't go unnoticed. And I guess that's kind of my point, is that you have to take Andy Frisella, the CEO of First Form supplement company, he says this shit all the time. But you can't. It's all about the small wins. You got to take those small wins to get to the end goal, to get to the end game. You can't continue to point the finger. Sometimes you just have to point the finger at yourself. It's looking at the silver lining and seeing what good can come of this. What good can I take from this, and how can I make myself better and make this work for me? It's not constantly, bitching and moaning about something that you can't do anything about. It's after the fact, there's nothing you can change. But to put blame on someone else that's loser mentality. Plain and simple. Like, that's, and I'm not going to lie, I did that. I'm not perfect. I did that. But I learned, I learned throughout my years of, in my career, I learned through my experience that you can't put your fate on others. It's on you to do something about it, And like I was speaking to my manager after the fact, and I was like, hey man, like, we approached him, blah blah blah. Hopefully it comes back tomorrow, a clear-minded, and it might have just been an instance, but to me, it's more like, don't let that shit happen to you, because you can go down a rabbit hole very quickly of just constant bitching and complaining in the habit of blaming others for your shortcomings, Stay motivated to do great, and know for a fact that how hard you work is on you. That shit it's not on anyone else, period. You can't blame anyone else for that. Like, I just don't understand that. That's one of the things that I just don't get. If somebody tells you that I want to see more effort from you, how in the hell are you going to put that on anyone else? There's no excuse for it. There just isn't. And like I said, it wasn't that long ago where I would do the same thing. I'd bust my ass for a couple weeks, for a couple months, and then try to get a promotion at work, and then they wouldn't pick me. So I would, get lax again, kind of half-ass it, and then say, hey, like, I'm doing my best, but so-and-so has it out for me. Or, I would constantly make excuses, even though, my former manager at my former company would tell me that I have the talent, I have the knowledge, and it's all there. But granted, I didn't bust my ass day in and day out for a long period of time. I would do it in short sprints, and I would, hope to God that carries me. And it doesn't work that way. If you want something, you have to put in the work, and you have to be patient and constantly do it. What drives me is succeeding. What drives me is that I know what the end game is if I keep at it. I know the benefits it will have for me and my family if I keep at it. It's one of the things I learned in fitness. It's one of those life lessons that I learned through working out and doing what I do, is the fact that I just keep going at the gym. I put in the work, I eat right for the most part, and guess what? Months from now, a year from now, you'll get that fucking six-pack. You'll get fucking buff. You'll get ripped, whatever the case is, if you do it right and work your ass off. There aren't any shortcuts to most of these things, man. There just isn't. So, my message to you guys today is to just make sure that if you want something, you work your ass off, you understand that it's going to take time, and you don't let up. The second you let up, like I said, it's okay to take a day off from time to time. Enjoy your life, but take into account and understand that you have to put yourself in the position to take a day off. You can't go full, you can't go 100% for a week, take a day off, and then when you get back kind of be lax and say, hey, I've been busting my ass. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. You have to do it. You have to work for the long term. You have to understand your goals are long term, and it's for, because people that want to make a lot of money, you want to make money for your family for life, not just for, you want to make good money for a month. No, that's not the case. So if you get what you put in. If you want your family to have a good life for an extended period of time, you have to work your ass off for that same extended period of time. It doesn't, it's not as simple as, I'm going to do it for a little bit, hope I get that promotion, blah, 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 all that bullshit. And then come back and say, hey, I didn't get it, place blame on others. And then, what happened? You're even further from where your goal was. So, like I said, if you're into fitness, if you go to the gym and work your ass off, take that same mentality and apply it to your life. It's not really that difficult once you create a habit from it. You have to do it for an extended period of time. Then it's just natural for you to go 100 all goddamn day. It really isn't that difficult. The hardest part is starting and making it a habit. But I promise you, once you do, shit will fall into place the right way. There aren't any shortcuts. You think you can get a six-pack in a goddamn week? Or even in a fucking month? Unless you're already, partially there and you're a fit person? Hell no. You can't go from 300 pounds with a flabby ass belly and then in a month or even two expect to be completely ripped. Unless you get lipo and fucking, take all kinds of drugs and shit, that's a different story. And I even doubt that would happen, because you still have to put in the work either way. So if you're going to take anything out of this, just be patient, work your ass off, and the next time you feel like you're going to make an excuse, shut the fuck up and think about it for a second, and think about how you can turn that around to do better. How are you going to improve yourself? How are you going to work harder to do better? Take any failure, take any loss as a time to learn and get better from it. So I hope you all have a great day. Much love. And I will be back soon, mother lovers.